Cyberpunk 2077 is a ways off from release. In fact, we don't even know when it will be released. It was officially announced years ago now, but it's still at least 2 or 3 years away from launch. That said, we do get trickles of information every now and then to keep us going, and that's exactly what we've got today. Thanks to the Triple S League and the Mad Queen show, sources that have been known in the past to leak major information about the game, we have got leaked information on what's being called the game's social hub, which will essentially act as a sort of bridge between the game's single-player and multiplayer experiences. This is as per an anonymous source close to the Triple S League, so as always, take this with a grain of salt. This is by no means even close to being an official confirmation, but it is something at least. The social hub in Cyberpunk 2077 will apparently be like the farm from Destiny 2, where players can wander into to look for new activities, and this might also probably entail some sort of a mini-game similar in nature to The Witcher 3's uber-popular Gwent. That said, the source stresses that CD Projekt Red do not want to turn Cyberpunk 2077 into an MMO in spite of their focus on online features, which is definitely encouraging to hear. As we said before, none of this is official by any means, so don't treat it as such. While there has been a lot of controversy about the presence of loot boxes in games such as Middle-earth Shadow of War or Star Wars Battlefront 2, sales analysis firm MPD has stated that the inclusion of microtransactions hasn't really impacted sales in any negative way at all. Speaking to Games Industry, Matt Piscatella elaborates that the inclusion of loot boxes cannot be taken as a sales driver either, and goes on to say, "What this week's release does suggest is that the loot box or microtransactions controversy has not yet resulted in clear, noticeable limitations of the sales potential of the games with those mechanics." Upcoming games such as Assassin's Creed Origins and Call of Duty World War II all feature loot boxes or microtransactions to some degree, but these only affect cosmetic changes or may not even require real money at all, as is the case with loot boxes in Assassin's Creed Origins. In the coming months, and with more information on hand, NPD hopes to gain a better understanding regarding whether loot boxes may have an impact on sales. Remember the Kinect, Microsoft's motion sensing camera that was a huge success on the Xbox 360? The company has recently announced that it will stop manufacturing the device. Whatever units remain in stores currently will be the last available to purchase. Kinect creator Alex Kipman and Xbox Devices marketing GM Matthew Lepson confirmed that Kinect was going away. It will still be supported on Xbox consoles, so you shouldn't worry about the Xbox One suddenly failing to register voice commands. The Kinect has had a rather tumultuous history that started with Microsoft announcing it as part of the initial Xbox One launch package, which resulted in the latter costing $500. The fact that Kinect was meant to be always on also didn't help. And while it later became optional, the support lavished on the camera started to dwindle over time. Look no further than the Xbox One S, which lacked a dedicated Kinect port, though it still supports one via an adapter. The same applies to the upcoming Xbox One X. All said and done, what are your thoughts on Microsoft finally killing off the Kinect? Let us know in the comments. GTA 4 had some of the best single-player focused expansions released as DLC that any game has ever gotten. Aside from The Witcher 3, Pillars of Eternity, Baldur's Gate 2, yada yada, but you get the point. Arguably, the expansions were better than the main game itself. But when GTA 5 came about, Rockstar never released any single-player content for it. Instead, all focus shifted to GTA Online, and content and post-launch support consisted of updates only for that mode. This, coupled with the focus on the online component of Red Dead Redemption 2 back when it was announced, led many to fear the worst, that like Valve before it, Rockstar 2 will slowly transition away from the kind of quality single-player experiences they are known for and slowly move to multiplayer games instead. However, speaking to Game Informer, Rockstar Director of Design Imran Sirwar explained why GTA 5 never actually got single-player DLC, confirming that it was a victim of circumstance and also reaffirming Rockstar's commitment to single-player experiences. No, it was not really a conscious decision, it's just what happened, Sirwar said. With GTA 5, the single-player game was absolutely massive and very, very complete. It was 3 games in one. The next-gen versions took a year of everyone's time to get right. Then the online component had a lot of potential, but to come close to realizing that potential also sucked up a lot of resources. And then there are other games, in particular Red Dead Redemption 2. The combination of these 3 factors means for this game, we did not feel single-player expansions were either possible or necessary. We'd love to do more single-player add-ons for games in the future, Sirwar added. As a company, we love single-player more than anything, and believe in it absolutely. For storytelling and a sense of immersion in a world, multiplayer games don't rival single-player games. So there you have it, Rockstar claims it's still committed to quality single-player experiences. Now to see if it means it when Red Dead Redemption 2 launches on the PS4 and Xbox One next year. Though Konami hasn't officially confirmed it, a certain page on Metal Gear Survive's website has indicated that the co-op survival title will require an internet connection to play the game. This was first discovered on the PS4 version's page, but can also be seen on the Xbox One and PC pages as well. Of course, you'll need PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live Gold to experience online multiplayer on the PS4 and Xbox One respectively. Maybe this is a Destiny/The Division-like scenario where a subscription to those services is only necessary when matchmaking with other players. Either way, if people are required to be online in order to experience the single player as well, it might not help the game's case. Again, Konami hasn't officially confirmed if an online connection is required to actually play Metal Gear Survive. The publisher has only confirmed that it will be releasing the spin-off on February 20th, 2018 for North America and February 22nd, 2018 for Europe. Visceral Games' closure a couple of weeks ago by EA was met by an outpouring of grief, especially given what it indicated for the future of AAA single-player games. But for many, it was also a blow to what is arguably the property that Visceral is most known for, Dead Space, the action horror game franchise that re-energized the genre last generation. Dead Space would go on to get 2 sequels, and neither would meet the critical or commercial highs of the original, with many fans citing a misguided shift to action over horror as being the reason. And now, former senior level designer Zach Wilson, speaking to games industry, discussed the problems that come with making a high-budget survival horror franchise. Survival horror is hard. Horror games in general are expensive to make and hard to sell. People would give us the feedback that they love Dead Space, but don't buy it because it's too scary. Kind of works against itself, he said. You can't sell games to a market that wants them to exist but doesn't want to buy them. The actual process of generating projections, which EA uses to set marketing budgets and judge success, is incredibly opaque, which I think most devs found frustrating. We can't translate our passion into a spreadsheet. We think that makes sense. Horror inherently has a smaller market than most other genres, incidentally also why most horror movies have smaller budgets than other movie genres, which means that horror game development on a AAA basis is probably wildly unsustainable. It's a shame, but we can only hope that the success of games like Resident Evil 7 and the original The Evil Within go on to establish that a market for higher-end horror games does exist in some capacity. Back in the old days, console wars used to be serious business, and advertising far more aggressive. Sega, for instance, literally launched the Genesis with an advertising campaign that went, "Genesis does what Nintendo don't," to highlight the console's merits against Nintendo's aging NES. Today, that rarely happens, which is why the few times it does is that much more remarkable. And it has happened. In a new promotional book for the Xbox One X, Microsoft compares the upcoming superpowered Xbox head-on with the PS4 Pro, Sony's relatively more conservative upgrade to the PS4 hardware that they released last year, to highlight the power gulf between the systems side by side. To their credit, they also include the base PS4 and Xbox One S in the comparison, which inadvertently emphasizes how the Xbox One was originally weaker than the PS4. But nevertheless, seeing this kind of side-by-side comparison and name-calling is always fun to watch. The Xbox One X launches on November 7th. That'll be it for this video. If you like what we're doing, please go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.